It's not like a big secret that there's other people in the room.
No.
True.
No. Most of the time, my microphone's in front of my face like this, so.
You better clutch your nuts, honey, because it's time for Squirrel Talk.
Wow, Selena. Oh, wait, sorry. No, let's start again. Cut. Hi, my name's Selena Vyle. Hey, guys.
I'm Hillary Yaas. I just did a show at Toronto Sketchfest. Did you come?
No, I didn't have time for that crappy show. Geez,
Oh,
no one
you
wants to
don't
see you,
love
Hillary.
me.
Only come to my brunch. Brunch.
Nobody
no one comes to
loves
my
me.
brunch.
Selena
Free tickets,
doesn't
free
love
tickets.
me. My own sister doesn't love me.
Yes, Hillary, go get some Xanax or something. I take 5 prescription medications.
Wow, that's unbelievable. You're dumb and ugly.
And you have a... No, I can't say anything bad about you. I just love you. Everything about you is so beautiful.
Ooh, keep touching yourself like that. It turns me on. Welcome back to Squirrel Talk, everybody.
It's me, Hillary Yaas.
And me, Selena Vyle Yaas.
And
We have a special guest today.
And we have the help with us.
That's right.
He's usually behind the scenes lugging my ass around. It's my husband.
It's your husband, which everybody's always wanted to meet because we talk about him a lot on here. But we never see him.
You know, there's weird, stupid things that we've come up with, like, right, Adam? I don't know where that came from.
I love Right Adam.
I don't know why. I was trying to come up with a catchphrase.
It was a bit that she started to do on Instagram
Right,
stories.
Adam?
Yeah.
Yeah, all 5 people really liked it.
Yeah, I was 4 of those people.
Yes, you were.
One from each of my accounts. I was like, this is great.
Well,
Great content.
if I recall, you were the one that really perpetuated it because every time I would see you, you would be like, right, Adam?
It's a catchphrase. You
Yeah.
gotta repeat it.
Yeah.
Adam, you're not allowed to talk yet. We have to introduce you.
Put it on merch.
Oh my God, seriously. Okay, so let's introduce. Yeah, Adam.
I mean that we buried the lead already.
We already did, didn't we?
What does that mean?
You can't bury the one who's in behind because that's just not fair. So
What?
you bury the lead.
I don't understand that.
You bury the lead.
Why can't you bury the one behind?
Because that's not fair.
Why not?
Because they're already in the behind.
So this is
It's
about
like
fairness.
Mario Kart. It's like a blue shell.
So when you say I buried the lead, that's about fairness.
You blue shell the lead.
What does blue shell mean?
You Mario Kart his ass so that he like explodes in a comic way. You blue shell bury the lead. Get it?
No.
Selena is wearing the first big wig she's ever owned, and she is in pain.
It is a very heavy wig. There is a helmet where a wig cap would be, and it is hurting my neck. So we got to get through this podcast. Adam!
Hey.
We have Adam on the
Hello.
podcast.
Adam.
Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
But before we
known
get
as
to
the-
you, before we get to you,
Okay.
So we were putting on our wigs today, and
We're not normally in drag for this podcast.
No, I was really jealous because Selena had bigger hair than me today, and I was like, "This is
She was quite angry with me, actually.
this is not okay."
Yeah, she was livid.
And yeah, I was kind of livid. I was like, "How dare you?"
She slapped me once.
Also, I expected her to come with her typical brown brunette hair because we're doing a photo shoot for our play coming up. And she shows up with a freaking blonde wig, and I'm like, "That's my thing."
Sometimes I wake up and I think, what would Hillary do? And that's how I go about my day.
Oh my God.
I live as a blonde. We have a play coming up.
Yeah.
Adam, are you excited about our play?
I'm so excited.
Adam, tell people what it's called.
It is called the play
that we wrote just
now.
Actually, it's called A Play We Just Wrote Just Now.
Yeah, so it comes first in the fringe
That's
list.
right.
Right.
When alphabetical listings were at the top. It
That was
very
one of the
intentional.
smartest things that you've done.
Thank you. I don't do
Yeah.
a lot, but
Good
that
job.
was one.
That was really
one.
good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Very strategic.
Also, Selena used this stuff she calls wig tape, which is like...
Yes, it's called, I mean, because it is wig tape.
I tried to use it. You tried to get me to use it, and I failed drastically.
You were in a panic and you were not in the right mindset for it at this moment, but we'll try it again and you will enjoy it.
It looks interesting. I just don't... I mean...
Adam, would you like some wig tape?
I think I'm okay.
I used Spirit gum. You know, I really got good at the gum. You have to put a little bit on, and you have to like tack it with your finger.
Do you know I'm allergic to spirit gum?
Oh.
And I found this out in 2006 when I was doing a community theater production of Beauty and the Beast. And I was playing a gargoyle, and they wanted to put a gargoyle mask on me, and they wanted to stick it with spirit gum.
Yeah.
So they tested it on half of my face, not just a spot, but half of my face.
They put that much spirit gum on your face?
Yeah. And then when I took off the mask, I looked like a burn victim. Like my face was red and bumpy and disgusting.
Well, also, you should not have that much spirit gum on your face. They were doing it wrong.
Yes.
Very wrong.
And so then when I started wearing wigs like 20 years later,
Oh my God.
I tried it. I tried it and I just tested a little bit and it happened again. So I can never wear it.
That's too bad. So now I understand you have wig tape.
Now I use the wig tape.
And I was going to wear nails, but then Selena's like, I don't wear nails. I don't try.
I don't because they pop off and you can't deal with your wigs when you're wearing them. I don't understand why people wear wigs. Why they wear
Yeah,
nails,
but it was
I
a
mean.
special situation. It was a photo shoot. It wasn't just like
Never
we're
heard
doing
of her.
Okay. Whatever. Special occasions don't count.
Now, I find that in smaller markets like in Ottawa, Guelph, those types of queens over there, they all have assistants who drive them everywhere, who
They
help them with
do?
their... Yes. Everyone's like, oh, let me ask my assistant. And I'm like, why do you have an assistant? You live in Ottawa. But
Are they a paid assistant?
no. Yes, they do pay them.
Really?
Yeah, I know. Weird, right?
When are you going to start paying me?
Well, this is the thing. I find here in Toronto, if anybody has someone like that, it's usually their husband.
Yeah.
And that's what you are, Adam. A husband.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am a husband/assistant.
You're a husband/assistant who
Yeah.
does not get paid. You're not on payroll.
Well,
No.
no. I mean, like,
So us drag assistants will have to form a union.
We are, yes, I think you should. We will be we're boycotting drag queens who have assistants but don't pay them.
all right, I'm going to have to union bust with my boobs here. That's not happening.
Bust it.
I'm just kidding.
He already
I do
is
it
the
out of
primary
love.
breadwinner. Do you think I could afford rent in Toronto with this asshole?
Absolutely not.
I do it out of love.
Absolutely not. No, we all need an Adam in our lives to keep us afloat.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it.
Me?
Yeah. Well, you have brunch.
I'm rent controlled.
You have
So
brunch. Yeah.
So
2000,
I'm very lucky.
Severely rent controlled. Like,
Incredibly rent
You've lived there
controlled.
for like 15 years.
I have.
Don't-
12.
Well, don't ever let it go.
I can't. Never let him go.
Oh, I will not. I will not. Speaking of, I really wanted to like barrage at him with drag stuff.
Ooh, yes, let's do
yes.
it.
Why?
Are we doing a
Because-
pop
Okay.
quiz or what?
Well, because like I just wanted to like throw him off a bit with drag stuff.
Sure.
Because my first question for you, Adam,
Okay.
is simply, you have unwillingly become part of the world of drag.
Yes.
You have been dragged
Kicking and
into
screaming,
this,
yes.
Yes.
as it were.
Yes.
When we first met,
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I was not doing this.
No.
Except I was kind of thinking about
Oh, you
it.
bait and switched him.
And I baited and switched him. And then suddenly I was like, guess what? She's a woman. And he's still here. What,
Yeah.
What was your take on that? Like, how did you deal with the wigs?
Being married to a drag
Being
queen.
married to a
You know, that's a really good question.
Oh, we're
I
gonna
don't
get some truth here.
I don't know if I have like a great answer because honestly, it
Does it hurt
happened.
Hillary's feelings? No.
No,
I'm plugging my ears.
it happened.
I'll listen to it later on the recording.
It happened. It happened so gradually that I think my first introduction to, well, this was even before Hillary was Hillary.
When she was rah, 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 rah,
Yeah,
mom?
my
Yes.
first introduction was like I would say probably within the first 3 months of us dating. You showed me
Picture.
Well, you showed me a
Oh,
picture.
sorry. This is your story.
Yeah, you showed
I'm
me.
a bad interrupter. you know.
Yeah, he really is. She really is.
It sounds like that video that you made, Hillary, during the pandemic of that like man and the woman who were caught on the cruise ship.
Oh yes,
That video is so good. Anyway, go on, Adam.
I'm speaking.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like I saw. So Hillary showed me a picture of Rah Rah, and Rah Rah was a solo play that Hillary developed while she was in
Right.
theater school, and I mean. Before I go further into this story, I'm a huge Lady Gaga fan, and Rah Rah is very inspired
little
by
monster?
Lady Gaga. I would say I'm a little monster.
Put your paws up.
And Rah Rah is inspired by the Lady Gaga nonsense lyric Rah 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 Mama in Bad Romance.
Yeah.
So I think Hillary knew that about me because one of
Okay.
the things that we bonded over together was our shared love of Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga and Johnny McDonald.
Yeah. Well, let's not go there. That's a whole different kind of drag.
They go hand in hand.
But
Whole other
so,
world.
and I saw this picture and I said, oh, that's so cool. Like, I had no idea this is something new about you. I wasn't thrown off by it.
Right.
I hadn't really been exposed very much to, like, in my own personal life, drag. But I knew, obviously, as a gay man, I knew about drag. And
this is probably like when Drag Race was like in early stages.
yeah, like, we met in like late 2013. So what's that?
So
Like
it wasn't-
season 3, season 4?
So it wasn't on like mainstream TV yet.
No,
Yeah.
it was on Out TV
Right.
and
Yeah. Like season 4 or 5.
So, and then I was like, and then I think I asked, like, do you have like any video of your performance? And he's like, and then she pulled up a YouTube link and we started watching it. And yeah, I mean, I don't ever remember being like thinking like, oh, wow, I don't know if I want to date someone who's into drag. Like that never even crossed my mind.
Okay.
I was fascinated by it. And then, you know, it was left at that. And then it was probably, we moved in together when we were dating for about a year. And shortly after we moved in together, we both, neither of us had seen an episode of Drag Race.
Okay.
And we both.
Well, I had.
Well, you had, but
not really.
not
But
really.
you weren't like fully immersed.
And
yeah.
I came home one day and Hillary was watching Drag Race, and I was like, "Oh, what's this?" And I'd always heard of Drag Race, but never watched it. I had a friend in university that was obsessed with it when it came on season 1,
wow.
the Lost season. So I remember him talking about it. And I was like, "Oh, I'll have to check that out," but I didn't have Out TV, so I had no way. And this was like in the this is not when you could just like
Right.
you'd have to go through great lengths to find it, right?
Yeah. Soap
Yeah.
Today or whatever. Yeah.
So yeah, so we started watching it together, and the first drag queen that on that show that I remember being like, oh wow, she's amazing, is Pandora Box. That was like,
Yeah, Pandora Box.
That
and
was
now you're married to her, basically.
Yeah.
You're married to the Canadian Pandora Box.
so yeah, so and then as we were discovering Drag Race together, that's when I also came home one night and Hillary was in the bathroom in full glam with a wig, and it's like, okay. And
She said, honey, get ready for bed.
yeah, and it just sort of kind of naturally evolved from there. Hillary continued to, I guess you'd call it bedroom drag for
Yeah.
a year or so.
The only thing I would disagree with you on is it was not full glam. It was
Well, compared to Matt, who I
Yeah.
knew,
Yeah,
it was very
Right.
striking. I would look back at photos from that era now and would agree it wasn't full glam.
I
but-
mean, none of us when we started actually looked good, but we all really thought we did.
but it's
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we were feeling the fantasy.
well, but it's a progression.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
your makeup is always like not necessarily like it's always improving or it's always changing. There's slight
Yes, that
differences.
is
Like I
correct.
even look at pictures of both of you from a few years ago.
Yeah.
and there's so like at the time
Yeah.
you guys, it's not that you didn't look beautiful. It's just you have this evolution,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That is
It's
true.
Selena's makeup
Yeah.
has gotten so much faster and
Yes.
not as good, but like better at the same time.
I've learned a lot from you, actually.
Yeah.
I have. No, not blocking my brows.
You
I've
don't
learned
block your
that.
brows anymore.
No,
Yeah.
I just paint right over. So you can't even tell if you're looking at the camera. You can't even see where my real brow is, can you?
See,
and we're in HD.
For like photo shoots, I actually do block my brows so that I have a little extra space.
Oh, I don't.
But usually, no, I wear a bang and it doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
especially when you have a bang. Like,
Bangs are a great trick. I
matter.
love bangs. for that reason.
Yeah.
especially for like just bar drag. Like, we're not in pageants here.
Right.
Um,
You know, it's interesting because when I date, I don't tell people I do drag because I
Yeah.
never know how they're going to react.
Yeah.
And there's one of
Yeah.
two reactions I don't want. One of them is like, ew, that's gross, which I have had. And the other one is like almost like fetishizing or like
Yeah.
kind of like star fucking, like kind of like they're more interested in you because you're a drag queen.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I don't want that one either.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you'll always risk it, won't you?
Always. But I want them to get
guess-
to know me first
Yeah.
and then find out that I do drag.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good question too for me. Is like, how did I feel about coming out with another secret?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
especially drag queens where we're like a gay or whatever or lesbian or what have you, and then it's like you have a relationship and then suddenly it's like, guess what? I'm also dressing in crazy clown
Yeah.
drag stuff.
Was it scary
it's-
for you to have to say it, Adam?
Yeah, well, I mean, you start kind of in the bathroom, just like, oh, kind of want to explore this world again.
Yeah.
And then you kind of take it from there, and it's like, well, remember that thing I did? I have many memories of like putting on makeup in bathrooms and my mom knocking on the door being like, what are you doing in there? And I'm like, nothing, like.
I never did that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was never interested in makeup.
And then just like have a shower and I come out and I was like, nothing happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she walks into the bathroom and her makeup's all over the counter.
It would just be like three things like lipstick, it's like,
Yeah, the basic stuff.
But yeah, so it was just kind of, I mean, that was kind of my long-winded answer to that question, but it
Yeah.
was just kind of a,
it wasn't long-winded. I thought it was insightful.
it was
I thought so too.
it was a very
I love learning a little bit more about you
progression,
guys.
and the progression included in that progression was, I mean, of course, like any gay man who isn't a drag queen, their experience in drag comes at like Halloween, right?
Right.
So part of that journey was Hillary and I going to a Halloween party at my friends in drag.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm like a
So you had to introduce your friends to Hillary.
yeah. I mean, Hillary wasn't Hillary at that point. At that Halloween party, you were Amy Winehouse.
Yeah, I was like a bad
Yeah.
anyway.
Right.
And I was our first female prime minister of Canada, Kim Campbell.
So you're both in drag.
Yeah, we were both in drag.
Yeah, I put
Unelected.
Unelected, much
Unelected.
like our current prime minister.
Yes.
Yeah, acclaimed.
So far. Yes.
Acclaimed.
Yeah. She came under. I will always remember my shining Kim Campbell moment. Not shining. The notorious moment was when she was at a rally or something, and she put up a picture of Jean Chrétien and was like, "Is this who we want as our prime minister?"
Well,
And she got huge backlash for that.
actually, well, it might have happened at a rally too, but actually, it was an ad that they ran.
It was an
It was
ad.
an ad that they ran of the main part of the ad was being critical of their platform policies, but then the ad ended with like ominous music and zooming in on Chrétien's face.
Who has a condition?
Who has Bell's palsy. He's had
Right.
it since he was a little kid, and it left him with a facial deformity.
Right.
And the ad focused in on his face, where you can clearly see.
Yes.
And they basically overlaid it with like, "Is this who you want leading the country?"
She
And
lost hard.
yeah, and as a result, I mean, not to get into a huge political discussion, but you can trace the current trajectory of conservative politics in this country back to that disastrous campaign, because it caused
Rightly.
the progressive conservatives to completely collapse.
Right.
And then about 10 years later, they were absorbed by the far-right Reform Alliance.
Right.
Right? So...
That's why I also like having you here, because you talk politics. And I
Yeah.
like that. I like that
That's
you're-
like not to talk politics, but
Yeah.
but I'm going to anyway.
Yeah.
Adam loves talking
But
politics.
I love it because I talk politics, but I'm new to politics, so I don't know everything. I don't
So,
know
and
the
I-
history. I don't know the
Yeah.
players.
I
and
like
get that from you.
talking. I like talking about the history. I like talking about analyzing the current political climate. I
Yeah.
am not a partisan, though.
Right.
He's not a partisan. Adam definitely likes. And you know me, I'm horrible because I like to play the devil's advocate.
You do. You really do.
Because I'll be like, you'll be like, "Ooh, we should have rights," and I'm like, "Should you? Tell me why you deserve them." And it's not because I don't agree, but I think it's relevant to talk about why. Why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Do you
Oh, yeah.
understand why you stand for what you
Oh,
stand
yeah.
for?
And-
Or you know what I mean? Like some
Yeah.
people just get on these bandwagons. It's like, do you understand why you're on the bus?
A jumper sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's easy to get tricked these days. There's so much false information.
Oh my God, yes.
So
Yeah.
much
So
propaganda.
From both sides.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And
From all
sometimes
sides.
you're just like, okay. Okay.
You don't know what to believe sometimes. Talking about burying the lead, like in journalism.
it mean?
Well, I don't know if it
Yeah, Adam.
if it originates in journalism, but so a little known fact about me: I did a year of journalism school before I figured out
Little
my
known
career
fact.
journey.
No one knows anything about you.
Hi, I went to journalism school for a year. But the lead is basically like when you're writing a news story, the lead is like basically what you're wanting to grab the people.
Yes.
Grab the people. So if you're burying the lead, it's like when you're trying to draw attention draw attention to something that isn't necessarily maybe the real news of the story. So I think that happens a lot in news reporting today, whereas you really have to...
Fake news.
Yeah.
Fake news. I mean, that's burying the lead, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it's also a rhetorical device.
Yeah.
It's to like damage the credibility of whoever's talking.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you don't matter because this guy's an idiot. It's like fake news is damaging the credibility. Like, how do you defend against that?
Yeah.
Especially in the age of like today, when it's like people
Right.
don't like elitism. People are suspicious of universities.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways,
So
you
a
love
year of
politics.
journalism school.
I do. I did a
He
year
loves
of journalism
politics.
school.
He
yeah.
talks
Okay.
and talks and talks and talks about it.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Electoral politics especially. So I won't stop talking about it once the federal election is
Cool.
called.
And like I said, one of the reasons why we met was we originally matched on Plenty of Fish
Yes.
because I wrote something like,
Sad
"Oh,
to
I
get around anymore?
because I was on because I was doing a lot of that historical theater,
Yes.
and I had to play Johnny McDonald and all this stuff. So I
Right.
knew so much. Still know
Right.
so much about early Canada.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm like, yeah, I know a lot about history, and he loved that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what grabbed me.
Huge. Aw, history
Johnny McDonald
nerds.
grabbed Adam. A new reason to cancel him.
No, I think like one of my opening
Canadian
my
history
opening
nerd.
lines to Hillary was
Canada.
well yeah, Canada was
So I heard you talk about Confederation.
yeah, I think anyone who openly professes their love of Canadian history is someone that I would like to know.
You know what?
Oh, you guys.
That's the tea, though. Like, Canadian history is often thought to be boring. It's really
It's
not.
really not.
Like, because a lot of people
Right.
say American history is interesting. No, American history has a lot of wars.
Yes.
Canadian history is very interesting. Like, it came together in a very different way.
Okay.
Very different way.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Did we burn down the White House in 1812, or was it someone else and we took credit?
Well, the British did.
The British.
and we were a British colony.
Okay, so it wasn't technically us.
But they were soldiers from the colony of Canada
Yeah.
at the time.
It was essentially Canada.
Are their descendants still here?
They might be.
Yeah.
I'm also into genealogy, so maybe I will see if I can find that out.
He does it all. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was different times.
Yeah.
It was before pre-Canada.
But it's the reason
Right.
the White House is
White?
white because
Because-
they had to whitewash it.
They had to paint it white?
Yeah, paint wash. Like paint.
Yeah. Like I think it was stone before. I don't
Yeah.
think it was white.
Oh.
I might be wrong on that, but I'll fact check that. But
I think Argentina is cool because theirs is pink. It's the pink house.
the
Like
pink
Casa
house.
Rosada.
Oh.
Yeah.
And are they a very queer friendly nation?
They are. They were one of the first countries
In Latin America?
to, yeah. I think they were the first Latin American country
Okay.
to legalize gay marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? I was in Buenos Aires in 2011. I spent 5 weeks there.
Cool.
And everywhere I went, there were just queer couples holding hands on the street. Like, it was
That's
just very
awesome.
out there in the open.
Really?
It was
That's
awesome. Yeah.
That's really cute.
I mean, they're an insane country. Like, you want to talk about politics?
Yeah.
I arrived there the day before the election.
when were you there?
2011, before we met.
Oh, okay.
I was 30 at the time. And they old. I'm old. But I arrived there the day before the election, and you couldn't buy alcohol anywhere, not in the stores, not in restaurants or
Really?
anything, because voting is mandatory.
Yeah.
And they want to make sure you show up, so you can't drink the night before. I mean, you can.
Oh, I
Everybody,
thought you were going to say that they want to make sure you're drunk when you vote.
no. But people do, they go up and buy up all the alcohol so that they have it at home so they can drink themselves.
Right.
But yeah, it's mandatory, which it should
interesting.
be here.
Yeah, I know. In Ontario, our voter turnout keeps going down and down, and then we keep making it easier to buy alcohol.
Yeah. Right? How is this happening? It did go up this time by 1%, right?
Yes.
Yes. So
It
that's
at
a
least
bonus.
went up.
But the polls right now are showing that federally,
Yeah, it's a horse
liberals
race.
they
a horse
skyrocketed
race,
back up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is very
polls?
promising.
What polls?
like
May
the
polls?
aggregate of the federal polls. Yeah,
Of who?
of the federal political climate in Canada.
Everyone? Everyone's poll is up? Are you saying the federal government has a giant boner?
Yes.
It's very sexy.
Yes.
Really.
Why
original
else-
Now I know why
matter.
he likes talking about politics.
Why else do you think Mark Carney got elected?
Heyo.
Now I understand what he means when he goes back into the bedroom. He's like, I'm just checking the polls. Just checking the
Now,
polls.
my question is, when people are polled, how are they? Is it phone polls or is it like text polls?
There's
You know, it's a
multiple.
little bit of,
There's
Is it under
multiple.
the table?
There's
Under the
multiple ways. Yeah, multiple ways to do polling.
and are they all counted, or is there like one specific way for each poll?
Well, so this is what I do.
This has turned into a political podcast,
I
and
know.
I love it.
This is what I do. There's a couple really good websites that do aggregate polling.
Which means
So they take all of the publicly available polls and put them into an average over time.
okay.
Right? Because like you said, certain polls are done like online, done phone.
Yeah.
There's different methodologies.
Because I get a lot of the text ones, and I ignore them because I think they're scams.
I know they come off as scams.
But they're real. You're telling me
It depends. It depends.
when it's like, "Hi, this is Sarah from Doug Ford's campaign. Can we count on your vote?"
That is what you would call an internal party poll.
yeah.
Okay.
pretty cool. Those are
different.
vaguely illegal.
So yeah, polling aggregates. So like for instance, there's one Canada338.com.
Yes, 338.com. Yes.
They have been doing it now I've been aware of them probably for about 10 years. And what they do is they take an aggregate of all the publicly available polls and give an average.
Okay.
And do seat projections based on that average.
Right.
So I would be more likely to look at that as
Right.
rather than an individual poll, because depending, especially for partisans, like you'll find a poll that will have your party up, and you might place huge value on that because
Yeah.
it's promoting the narrative that you
Absolutely.
are hoping for, right?
Let's talk about, for example, the provincial election that just came by.
Yes, let's.
So Adam and I, we live in the Danforth riding in Toronto. The Danforth riding in Toronto is massively NDP
At
Okay.
the provincial level.
at the provincial level.
provincial level,
So
okay.
like what? It's like close to 70 or 80% NDP.
It's like the safest NDP seat in Ontario.
So it's just
I thought mine
like
was. I'm Parkdale. We're very NDP.
You're safe,
are,
but we're
yeah.
safer.
Wow.
Because Parkdale High
competition.
Park has been a battleground riding even when like the NDP's been lower, whereas the NDP
For
is
provincial?
For provincial.
Wow.
yeah. So the thing is like even if we vote for NDP or whatever, it's just going to be NDP.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's just how it works. So like, when you look at the numbers and how Ford won all those seats, it's like, and people ask, how do you change that? It's like, move to list duel. That's the answer.
Yeah. Put your vote, like, take your vote somewhere where it'll
Where
count.
it matters.
Yeah.
Seriously. Because otherwise, I don't have an answer for you.
Yeah, the
Right.
whole city of Toronto could vote overwhelmingly against the Ford government and they would still win because they have all of the
Isn't it wild?
suburban ridings.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
The suburbs love him. Love him. Love. I mean, Toronto hates him because he hates Toronto.
Exactly. Yeah.
We fucked him over so many times.
So
We fucked him over?
In a lot of ways.
he perceives it that
I think
way.
that's the way he sees it.
Yeah.
He also holds a grudge against Toronto because of the way his brother was treated.
And his bro.
How we treated his brother? Oh, baby. The guy who drove a car while eating a sandwich and reading a newspaper on the Gardner.
From his perspective, he's like, what's wrong with that?
I love it how you go to that and not the crack smoking crack video,
Listen, we all have our vices. We all have our vices.
and how we were an international laughing stock because of that.
He went on Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh my God. Ford's been everywhere, though, like internationally. Like,
He
he's been getting a
has.
lot of TV time.
He's been going to the States
Especially in
a
the
lot.
States, yeah.
And we've been
Yeah.
noticing, Adam and I were just commenting, he's been getting a lot of work done.
Really?
Oh,
Have
yeah.
you taken
I haven't
a
looked
look?
at him. What does he have?
It's
Had
just-
veneers.
It definitely veneers.
The veneers I could tell. That I could tell.
Got hair
Definitely
plugs.
hair plugs. That line of hair, perfect. It's impeccable.
I'm thinking of doing my hair, my hairline. Not
Yeah,
yet, but one
yeah.
day.
Definitely even Botox. Like he's gone for it.
Good for him.
And do you remember how he used to talk? He used to be like very, oh yeah, we go to Tim Hortons.
Yeah.
And now he's very politic. Like he's got a coach and everything.
That is true. Because I listened to not the agenda, but the other one on Polly.
Yeah.
And they
Oh,
had
the
commented
podcast, yeah.
on the podcast on TVO. They had commented on how the way he speaks politically has changed and has
Totally.
become more political the way he speaks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he wants to be prime minister.
He
honestly.
does.
I think like that ad, I can't remember what, I think he won or something, and it was just like, thanks everybody, and then just like giant Canadian flag explodes behind him, like, when I'm like, well, all right,
And
here
him-
we go.
him-
He's gonna go from literally to from municipal to provincial to probably vying for the federal.
Well,
'Cause,
and
ugh,
you'll
like the Americans know him now.
yeah,
Right.
and you notice the Ontario Progressive Conservatives are very different than the federal Conservative
Yes,
Party.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And Pierre Poilievre and Doug Ford have never been seen publicly together. The rumor
Right.
is that they absolutely hate each
Well,
other.
of course. Doesn't
So-
everybody hate Poilievre though? Like, I think
so.
everyone in
So I
the party
think,
hates him.
I think Doug Ford, his play could be like, don't, yeah.
If Poilievre's boat sinks, like he's looking.
Yeah.
I think.
And the scary thing is, if Doug Ford takes over the that party, they would skyrocket to the top.
They would.
It's wild.
I know he's very popular.
These characters, we need more characters like this on the left side.
You don't
We
like
need
you
more
don't,
people
you
who are
don't like
like-
Justin?
Just saying.
What do we think of Wab
I mean,
Canoe?
his time's over. Right?
Who?
Wab Canoe, Premier of Manitoba.
I don't know because I always thought great, but then I heard some Zionist stuff coming from him that
Yeah,
I'm like,
but what do you think of his drag?
needs a little work.
Canoe, please welcome to the stage, Miss. I'm a canoe.
Ayo. I don't know. I find it odd that an Indigenous person would side with Israel on anything.
Yeah, I mean that's it. Not to go into that because the thing is, even Second City wrote that sketch about it. It was literally called Israel. It was like, don't talk about Israel,
Right.
Because it was like,
They have a sketch right now in the next main stage show that talks about
does
it.
it go to it
Really?
again?
It's in the form of a
It's-
boy band song. I'm very excited about
It's
it.
definitely a topic that is entirely polarizing for a lot of people. I
yeah.
don't necessarily understand why all the time because from a moralistic side, I'm like, isn't there an obvious answer here? But like, it's very polarizing. You know what I mean?
I think it used to be polarizing because we didn't understand it. I think a lot of people understand it now.
Well,
and
then
it's
why are there still people that are on different sides?
because there are some people who just are so deeply indoctrinated and will not see any other way.
Do you think that's kind of the same thing with like the
And fear
Trumpian
tactics. Like they play a lot of fear tactics.
do you think
as
it's
well.
like similar with the Trumpian politics, like MAGA versus Republican versus Democrat versus all
No,
of them?
I think that's just disenfranchised people who want to believe in something even if it's the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Because we are so disenfranchised, and I think Trump represents to a lot of people like anti-establishment, even though he is so fucking
He is so
establishment.
establishment. I know.
Well, I think that's why on the left you saw someone like Bernie Sanders become so
Yes.
popular. But it seems the Democratic Party maybe had more.
Because the Democrats are actually Republicans, and they don't want someone who's actually a socialist to get ahead.
Whereas the Republicans, like, as far as I'm concerned, the Republican Party is to blame for
100%.
the mess that the world is in right now because
They did nothing to protect us.
they did nothing to protect it.
Yeah.
Protect us. So, anyway,
And they just like lay there. Like, what are they doing right now to fight Trump? Schumer doing absolutely nothing and being like,
Yeah.
well, this is fine. Like,
Amy Schumer.
her uncle. There's not a good. I haven't met a Schumer I liked.
Yeah, her comedy. A lot of people say she just ripped it off.
Well, because she did. There's YouTube videos about it. You can
There
see
you
the jokes
go.
that she ripped off.
So politics is wonderful, but let's bring it back to
Oh, right. We're here.
Yeah.
We're this is a drag
Comedy.
podcast.
and drag is political, though.
it. Oh, it absolutely is
Thank
political.
you. I have a sticker coming out that says that.
Yeah.
So talking about politics is, and that's the fun thing. I do think drag, whether or not you actively engage in politics, it is a political thing.
Absolutely.
Because guess what? It's political whether you like it or not. Because those
Yep.
friggin' assholes keep coming after us.
Yes.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yes. Yes. And it pisses me off that there are so many queens here who say nothing. It's always the queens. I don't say kings because kings always speak.
Well, the kings don't. They have to.
Yeah.
They have to. Whereas like the queens get booked at the bars.
Yeah.
Most of them.
But I look at like queens in the States and they're all talking about politics. Queens here, in Toronto specifically,
Yeah.
never. We never hear them open their mouths
Toronto drag queens don't like to rock the boat.
because they're very concerned about the money coming into their pocket.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
They're all very like, don't rock the boat, don't rock the boat.
Mm-hmm.
It's been like this as long as I've been doing drag in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if there's a problematic bar or problematic
Oh, my
person,
God.
you'll be like, why is no one talking about this? Scream into the void. And everyone will be like,
Like, do they not understand that if they all
Silent.
speak, if they all come
Silent.
together and speak, then nobody gets in trouble because they are all on the same side?
my theory at this point is they're all just so, I mean, complicit, but at the same time,
Complacent.
complacent because they're like, yes, I hear you. However, I used to be you 5 years ago. Nothing happened. So now I'm just,
Yes, I hear that a
Complicit.
lot. We tried and it didn't work.
we tried and it didn't work.
Well, I guess the solution is stop trying. What is the Homer Simpson quote? What is it? Yeah, you tried and you failed. The lesson is never try.
Never try. Okay. Well, yeah, so Sketchfest comedy.
You just did a show.
It just happened. That was really fun. They celebrated. Now you know where my mind's at. Celebrated their 20th
20
anniversary.
years.
Can you believe they've been around for 20
That
years?
is wild.
And we have to shout out. Oh, we forgot last time, but we're recording at the Sleepless Studio. Okay, moving on.
Bing.
But the more important thing is, Sonar Network was a
Yes.
sponsor for the Sketchfest.
These guys?
Yeah,
These guys?
Those
Can we get a
lovely-
close up on the sonar?
That was lovely.
No, we can't. No, we don't. Our producer, Michael, is stepping right in to tell you all.
Hey.
That's our producer, Michael, from the Sonar Network.
Yeah, and then yeah, no, it's a lovely festival. We've done it multiple times. Selena is over it.
I'm just tired. I don't have anything new to write. That's why I like improv. I'm an improviser now.
That's the thing, yeah. But we did our show last year, the Christmas show, based on a grant that we
Oh
received.
my God,
from
we won a
them.
grant. That's right. I forgot.
You know, you invited me to do a show originally.
I did? What show was
We
that?
did the I Need to Pee video together.
Oh,
that we
yes.
entered. I don't know. And then they get you to do some things here and there. You were a judge this year on their film festival,
Which you have done before as
which
well.
I did the 2 years before. So Selena Vyle didn't even tell me, and she stole my job. And I went up to them and I told them, I was like, so you gave it to Selena? Great. That bitch didn't even tell me she had the job until it came out.
Listen, here's where I'm at these days. I do something and then forget about it.
Yeah.
I don't tell anybody because I don't know what I'm doing ever.
Yeah, it's true. It's just,
You saw the public
Yeah.
poster and be like, oh yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I even kept forgetting I was on the jury, and they kept being like, "Hey, have you watched the videos?" And I was like, "Of what?"
Well, that was fun.
A lot of stinkers. Oh my God,
Andy
a lot of
Asif's
stinkers.
one.
What's
Andy Asif, his Slop
Yes.
King one.
Another Middle Eastern comedian. We love him.
Yeah, and he was on the double bill with me. Me and him did a double bill.
Did you get to watch him, or were you after him?
I was after,
Okay.
so yeah, I was. Pretty
you were
much
in prep
just
mode.
prepping.
Yeah.
but I mean, he's amazing.
Yeah.
He's a really nice guy. He's on What We Do in the Shadows as a monster recently.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's exciting.
Crazy, I know.
So how did it go for you? How was your experience this year?
No, What We Do in the Shadows, though. That was such a weird show. So I love What We Do in the Shadows, okay? However, they film in Toronto.
Yes, they do.
And the last season, which Andy was on,
Uh-huh.
was filmed on our street in Leslieville.
Stop.
And
On
I-
your street?
Yes. And they scouted it, and then they took over our street for like 2 weeks. And
2 weeks?
I fucking hated them. I was like,
I
get
believe you.
off my street.
I believe you. I had the same experience with Kim's Convenience because I used to teach a baby music program
Oh my God.
in Leslieville at the church at Queen and Carla.
Yeah.
And they filmed there.
Yeah.
So every now and then they would be like, hey, we have the space. You have to go teach somewhere else. And I was like, excuse me, this is where the babies come.
Yeah.
We do here. You get out of here, Kim's Convenience.
No,
I started
now
calling
it's a
them
baby
Kim's
store.
Inconvenience.
Yeah, totally Kim's
I
Inconvenience.
thought it was very clever.
Oh, this is how jaded we are at this point.
Yeah, we're like mad at productions for existing in
How
Toronto.
dare you.
Contributing to our economy.
It's like potential work. No, thank you. Yeah, I think but the show went pretty good. It's the first full solo sketch show I've done, So half hour
do you mean?
sketch. So solo sketch. Have you ever heard of solo sketch?
Yeah, don't you do that all the time? Like, what was
I don't know.
Crofatica? What was that? That was a solo sketch show.
I guess so, but it was more like a one-woman show concert.
Yeah, so was this though. You sang a lot in it. I watched the video you sent me.
Yeah, but there was songs, but there was also like sketch comedy.
There were sketches in Part Time Everything.
You know what? You're right. Okay, fine. I guess that's solo sketch. That's the thing. Solo sketch is a weird concept.
Yeah.
Solo sketch.
Yeah.
Like, what do you even mean? What does that mean? But yeah, it was new. It was all new. So I was freaking out because it was all new material.
It was all new. Yeah.
Everything was new. And I'm just like, I don't know if an audience is going to like this.
But every time you put up a show, it is all new, right? Like,
yeah.
if it has a new title, it's an all new show.
Yeah. Pretty much. I like making new stuff.
Yeah.
Despite,
I admire that. You do have a creative brain. You're so good at writing. Like when we were doing our Christmas show, I could barely write one sketch and you had written like 20.
You wrote some stuff though.
I know you had to chase after me to write one sketch.
Well, there was the one that you wanted to improvise, the car song.
Because I can't write anymore.
We had a moment right at the end. It was like a day away from the show. And I was like, Selena, if you don't know what you're doing, it's cut. And you're like, no. And I was like, okay, we're going to do it now. And you're like, you may have to. It's like, yes.
We have very different working brains.
We are going
Very
to just
different brains.
beat through this so that you know what you're doing on the stage, Selena.
I don't know what's wrong.
But the funny thing is that that's the thing. Like we needed to beat through it because I think a lot of the humor also came from what we found eventually, which was me off to the side on a microphone.
On the mic, yeah.
That was
as
hilarious.
the sexy car.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
And we wouldn't have found that had we not worked it.
Yeah.
So
And I remember the first
comedy.
I can't remember if it was the first show or the second show because you did two. The person you got from the audience for that sketch
That was the
first
first
time,
show.
they like you kind of were not sure how it was going to go, but it ended up like their energy was perfect for what you
he
needed.
was hamming it up like
Yeah.
crazy. It turned out I picked one of Jelly's friends who like is notoriously like wild. And I didn't realize it was him when I picked him. And I was like, wait a minute. Because he gave me a fake name. I was like, what's your name? And he didn't give me his real name. So I didn't clue in that it was him.
Oh my God.
Oh. But that was fun.
But it was fun.
It was very fun. He did make it very fun.
And I would agree. I remember because I mean, I was behind the scenes, like with everything, seeing the show come together and hearing about the different sketches. And it wasn't until the night of the show, I think, that I knew that there was going to be Hillary off to the side doing like the sounds.
Oh, okay.
Was so like
It added a lot
hilarious.
to the sketch because my sketch initially was just like nothing.
So, we're getting in there, but like Adam, why don't you talk about what it's like living with someone coming up with a comedy show?
Yeah, tell us what
talk
it's
about
like living with Hillary, the person asking you the
Because
question.
the house is a disaster.
Well, that's what I would say.
Oh.
Or our basement. It's not a house.
It's a basement apartment.
It's a basement in a house.
It's
Yay.
2-bedroom basement apartment in a house. So,
Well, rich.
but yeah, what was your question?
What's
What
it like
is
living with
like?
this person
What is it like living with a creative mind?
who's working on a show?
Like a
at the time of them
disaster
working on a show.
woman.
It's never boring.
I believe it.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm used to it now. Like I
What
don't.
does that mean? What are you used to?
I'm used to. I'm used to
Used
when
to
you're
it, apparently.
when you're in creative
am it.
mode.
Hello, everybody.
No.
That's how I call you.
You know, I
We
think
met with the red balloon, don't you remember? I invited you into the sewer.
It's called the basement apartment, Hillary.
no. I think what it's like is I never know what to expect. I also, when you're creating a show, it's actually quite fascinating for me being on the outside, seeing you create because
Yeah, what? What's
it
fascinating?
the changes that happen. Like you will have
Changes?
Well, no, the changes in the content that you're
Something has
creating. The
changed
changes in the
within you.
content that you're creating.
Oh, yes.
so like the sketch
process.
show, the process of the sketch show evolving
Right.
over a few days.
Yeah.
So like, okay, so for this most recent one, that miserable old white woman that she
Yes.
was developing, part of her process was writing out the sketch, like the title, like the titles of the sketches on sticky notes and having them plastered over our coffee table.
Yeah.
So
All connected with red ribbon.
yeah, I work a day job. I would come home in the evening. Often Hillary is working. So I would come home and I would see these sticky notes shifting depending on the day.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It's a really neat window into the creative process.
Right.
Honestly, like, Hillary
Some of
asked
those
me.
sticky notes didn't make it.
Hillary, no, some of them didn't.
Oh no.
So, yeah, there had to be cuts.
Wow. Kill your babies.
Yeah.
Kill your
So,
babies.
Not actually. That's a theatrical term. Just FYI.
Yeah.
and
yeah. Theatrical term.
there's a lot of. Luckily, our apartment is pretty soundproof. There's a lot of late night vocal sessions in the studio that are happening.
Oh. Like
there's-
soundproof from like room to room or from
Yeah.
like the upstairs neighbors?
I think both. Yeah.
Because one time there was a fire and nobody knew.
Well, Hillary knew.
Hillary, was it a smell?
I smelled it.
You smelled it. It was upstairs. It wasn't in your
It
apartment.
was on the top floor, outside on the
wild.
balcony. Yeah.
Came outside and there was a fire on the roof.
Do you know?
So
Did you ever hear how it started?
I did, but I don't remember.
Yeah. Someone was smoking and put a cigarette in a planter,
In a planter.
and it smoldered overnight and set the whole back deck on fire.
Wild.
Fun times.
was wild.
But the interior of the house was spared.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, it was all on the outside.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, it just kind of burned the balcony. So
Yeah.
we're lucky. It is a brick building.
Yeah.
So
And this was middle of the night, so you guys were like asleep, but you happened to be awake or you woke up with it
I just smelled this plasticky burning smell
in your sleep?
from the window.
Hillary, I think, hadn't fallen asleep.
And
yet.
Because you don't
kinda-
sleep at regular hours.
No, no, I don't. But
Yeah.
like I went to, I smelled something and I was like, oh, it's nothing. I went to sleep. But then I just smelled it again. I woke up and I was like, I'm gonna go out. And I went out to the main room, and I just saw this flashing light.
Oh, my God.
Outside, I was like, what's that? Is there a fire ambulance back there? And I like open the door and like look up, and there's this raging inferno on the balcony, like dripping little pieces.
And you
I
were
was
in
like,
full drag.
Holy, yeah, full drag. I was in glamour. I was preparing for RuPaul's Drag Race season 4, but well, then this happened. No, it was crazy. So then I ran in and I was like, fire, fire.
Yeah.
And Adam was like,
It was pretty wild.
ooh.
I don't
Scary.
recommend being woken up out of a deep sleep to your husband saying
Right.
there's a fire, you need to get out.
Right.
Yeah.
It's imprinted in my brain.
Well,
Oy.
Selena won't ever have a husband telling her that.
So
That's
she
true,
can't
because I'm
relate.
what? A slut.
What a wild experience. I mean, that was a pretty crazy experience to go through.
It was
Probably one of the
pretty
weirdest
wild.
ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of the weirdest. And honestly, like, I don't know, growing up it had kind of subsided in my adulthood, but growing up as a kid, I had this perpetual fear that our house was going to burn down.
No, and then it happened.
Yeah. So
Well, almost. There's
Yeah.
always next time. Another really great moment that this triggered, which is a little happier. Adam and I got married
Yeah.
at City Hall.
Yeah.
Yes.
During the pandemic.
Yeah. At the height.
With
yeah.
this, and they have the little chapel in Toronto City Hall, and
Yeah.
little guy marrying us and stuff. But
Little guy marrying you?
recently, we went back there for
Yeah.
our drag mother's
Yeah.
wedding.
Hillary, yes. That's our drag mother. Vicky Licks
Yeah.
got married.
Vicky Licks, Travis Connor got married to his.
Connors?
Connor, I think.
Yeah, they're
Travis
the Connor.
Connor?
They're the new Connors. They've replaced the old ones again.
Sorry, Roseanne.
Yeah, Travis Connor.
Roseanne's dead. Now the whole family's dead. Now it's just Vicky Licks.
Travis Connor and Paul Cody got married.
Yes.
So cute. We were there. We
Yeah.
went to the wedding.
Yeah, because it wasn't the pandemic, they could have a bunch of people there. We could
And
only have two
they
people.
chose only
They chose
5
us.
people.
Yeah.
We could only have 2 people, so we had our moms.
That's right. I wasn't invited to the
And they had
couldn't.
little.
You couldn't.
Yeah, no, you couldn't come.
Shame.
You literally couldn't come.
I mean, you could have chosen me over your mother, but
well,
Well, my mom, you've met my mom.
I
My
met
mom
Chris-
would not have that.
no,
No.
of course
She'd be
not.
like, excuse me?
my mom would probably be like, "Oh, it's okay."
Oh,
My mom is very, very
no.
quiet and sweet.
Aw.
But no, our moms
Well,
got
if
to
Selena
witness.
really wants it.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah, and there were little X's. The thing that the chapel was the exact same when we went for Vicky's wedding a few
But you
weeks
had
ago.
marks of where to stand.
Yeah.
Like you have to
Little
be this many feet apart.
X's of tape. Yeah, we got to take our masks off for the ceremony,
but
but
kept it
our
on?
moms kept it on, and the officiant kept it on too.
Wow.
Yeah.
We had a great officiant at Vicky's because it was like
Ruth Bacon Ginsburg.
Ruth Bacon Ginsburg. She looked exactly.
She looked like
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
I think she does it on purpose.
so much.
I think she knows what she's doing.
Like
Oh,
Ruth Bader.
it
Yeah.
was like, yeah.
It was a bit Vegas-y. It was like, come to Vegas and get married by Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
and she had like a swag. She had a little like personality to her.
Well, what a great job though to like. What do you get to
Yes.
do? What do you do? Oh, I marry people all day.
Yeah.
I just see people in wedded bliss
yeah
6-7 times a day,
yeah
over and over,
It's no big deal.
and then I go to lunch.
yeah.
That's not bad.
But yeah.
It's really cute. It's like a pop-up chapel because there was like someone right before and someone
Yeah.
right after.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
It
it's really
literally
cute.
is. And like when we got married, we couldn't even, the city hall was practically like on full lockdown. So we had to wait outside. Someone would come and get us.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
And take us up and then take us down.
Yeah.
And then the next couple would be brought in, but you had to wait outside.
So, I mean, we're kind of running out of time, but like, why don't we finish with like what's happening in our lives? Like, I am working on some new Lady Gaga parodies, May Contain Ham in place of Mayhem, featuring songs like Shadow of a Ham. Selena, you have a whole tour that you're on currently right now as this podcast is out.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Burlesque, right?
Yeah, it's a burlesque tour. They do it yearly. I'm joining this year as the host. I will be doing a lot of live singing. We have group numbers. We have solo numbers. It's going to be super fun. We're traveling from Hamilton all the way to Newfoundland. So if you're anywhere in between, check out babesburlesque.com to see when we're in your city. Mm-hmm. We're starting like right now. So go check out the dates and buy a ticket. Tell your friends.
Go watch Selena do her thing. She takes off her clothes.
I won't be in the show.
No.
I'm not a burlesquer. I'm joining a burlesque tour, but I'm not.
You're not even in the show? They're just like, put on drag and drive us around.
Yeah.
I will be the chauffeur. That will be its own miniseries, just the drag chauffeur.
Oh my God. Well, I hope that you at least do a little bit of
I'll show something to someone backstage. Adam, what do you have working on? What are you working on that you have coming up?
Yeah.
Where can the people find you?
Where can people find me? You can find me on Instagram, Toronto_Wanderer85.
You wander around Toronto. Since
Private,
1985.
it's a private account, so
Then don't follow. Don't.
but I might let you in.
He's
And-
usually hanging around me too.
Yeah,
so.
like honestly,
True, just follow Hillary.
Figuring out what whatever Hillary's doing, I'll be doing. I mean, honestly, like I mentioned mentioned earlier, I'm a big Lady Gaga fan, so I'll be listening to Mayhem as much as I can before all the songs are replaced with the
Parody
parodies.
lyrics.
That's right.
That happened
Those
during
lyrics. Yeah.
Craffatica. I now I hum Lady Gaga songs singing the Craffatica
My
lyrics.
name
Isn't Karen.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's another podcast. Thank you, Squirrels, for tuning in. We have been Selena Vyle.
and Hillary Yaas.
And who are you again?
I'm Adam Tarswell, Hillary's husband.
Well, what a delightful podcast.
Thanks for joining us again. I guess there won't be another episode for a little bit because I will be away till the end of April.
Yeah, well,
So we'll see you in May.
Who knows? Maybe we'll do like a bad one over the phone or something.
While I'm driving.
Yeah.
A group of 4 other people,
Hey, it's better than what you're usually doing with your life.
which is nothing.
All right, well, bye, Squirrel.
Thanks for joining. Goodbye now.
Have a nice day. See ya.
This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network.